Is melatonin really the miracle anti-aging supplement that some claim it to be? Let's find out. Some might be surprised to learn that melatonin is actually a hormone that was first discovered in 1958 by an American physician named Aaron Lerner. Now, melatonin is naturally produced by the body and it's secreted by the pineal gland, which is situated in the brain. The pineal gland receives information from the optic nerve regarding ambient light levels and then adjusts melatonin output accordingly. Now, bright light suppresses the output of melatonin with levels reaching a minimum sometime in the afternoon. After dark, the pineal gland responds to the decreased light levels by greatly increasing its melatonin output in preparation for sleep. Levels peak around 2 to 3 hours after falling asleep, decreasing gradually until awakening, with daylight further suppressing output. This all takes place as part of a complex process that maintains our natural circadian rhythm, which, to put it simply, is our body's internal 24-hour clock. Now, opposing melatonin, there's another hormone at play, and that's cortisol. Cortisol is a steroid hormone that's produced by the adrenal gland, and as melatonin levels fall in the morning, cortisol levels rise, peaking around an hour after you wake up, and dropping to its lowest level around midnight. Both melatonin and cortisol are crucial factors influencing your sleep-wake cycles, and patients with impaired cortisol output due to adrenal insufficiency typically require lifelong cortisol replacement therapy. I'm sure we've all experienced how anxiety or stress near bedtime can raise cortisol levels, rendering sleep a fruitless pursuit. So do your best to keep cortisol levels low in the evening, otherwise all the melatonin in the world won't get you to sleep. Recent studies show that maintaining normal circadian rhythm can prolong the lifespan of an individual, indicating that melatonin plays an extremely important role in anti-aging. Interestingly, melatonin is also made in the gut, and it's produced in response to any type of gastrointestinal upset, where its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects take place right within your GI tract. However, it's the pineal gland that far and above contributes most to circulating levels of melatonin in the bloodstream. But you can also get tiny amounts of melatonin from several foods, good sources being nuts, eggs, fish, and tomatoes. Most people assume that melatonin receptors are limited to within the brain. However, in reality, melatonin receptors are found in cells throughout the body, including the heart, liver, kidneys, lungs, pancreas, and as I've already mentioned, the gut. This is already a strong indication that melatonin is involved in a lot more than just sleep. Most of us taking a melatonin supplement are doing so in order to benefit sleep quality, or at least to aid falling asleep more easily. And for that purpose, melatonin can be extremely effective, especially in cases of jet lag or shift work. However, what most people are not aware of are the additional benefits that melatonin supplementation can provide. We'll be taking a look at these benefits shortly, but to give you an idea of how important I believe melatonin to be with regard to slowing aging, if I could use just one over-the-counter anti-aging supplement, then melatonin would be a very strong contender. Unfortunately, natural melatonin production does decrease with advancing age, and it's a direct result of calcification of the pineal gland. This results in diminishing melatonin output, and worse still, the rate of calcification increases as we age. So in order to restore youthful levels, an appropriately dosed melatonin supplement is very effective. But we're also going to be looking at even higher dosages, intended to maximize melatonin's anti-aging effects. Now, interestingly, we've seen a 50% rise in melatonin use over the past 2 years, and there's a very good reason for that. Melatonin works. Next, we're going to look at melatonin's specific benefits. But just before we do, let me mention that if anyone wants to check their current natural nighttime levels of melatonin, then this simply requires a urine sample. This must be taken first thing after waking, then sent for analysis. And be aware that certain medications can lower melatonin, especially antidepressant drugs such as Prozac. Check with your doctor if you think your meds may be of concern. In order to optimize the health benefits of melatonin, and indeed any of the other supplements reviewed in this top 5 series, Let me first stress the importance of using them in conjunction with a top quality multivitamin and mineral tablet. This provides a solid nutritional foundation upon which to add those more specialized targeted supplements. Recent studies show that maintaining normal circadian rhythm, which necessitates sufficient levels of melatonin, will prolong the lifespan of an individual, indicating that melatonin plays an extremely important role in anti-aging. And indeed, in later life, when melatonin levels may have declined significantly, that's often when we start to experience disrupted sleep patterns. Melatonin is also an extremely powerful antioxidant, and it's one of the very few that can penetrate into our cell's mitochondria, which is the part of the cell which contains its own DNA. And while we're on the subject, there's a few other supplements in this top 5 series that are also highly beneficial to the health of your mitochondria, so please check those out too. Melatonin also plays a role in modulating certain functions of the immune system, and as melatonin production gradually declines with age, its loss has been associated with several age-related diseases. We should probably take note of the fact that breast cancer, prostate cancer, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's patients predominantly have lower than normal levels of melatonin. Now that's undoubtedly telling us something relevant. It's now known that if your body is making insufficient natural melatonin and it's not receiving supplemental melatonin, that in time this can promote insulin resistance, which in turn can increase your risk of diabetes and unwanted weight gain. So I'd say having enough is somewhat important. Melatonin also plays an anti-aging role by upregulating the expression of the SIRT1 gene, the result of which is an inhibition of premature cell senescence. In short, melatonin contributes to protecting us against not only neurological aging, but every known age-related disease, including cancer. And there are several studies which indicate that melatonin is a regulator of the hormonal component of the aging process, which may account for its decreased production as we age. Declining hormone levels are a natural part of the aging process, and of course those declining levels have a deleterious effect on our health and well-being, so maintaining them at healthy levels is vital. So not only can supplemental melatonin help us sleep better, it can also boost many other lacking processes which are a result of age-related decline. And lastly, before moving on to the best product section of the presentation, let me mention that in several laboratory experiments, the lifespan of mice given melatonin was increased by over 30%. Sure, they're lab animals, not humans. However, that data is at least very encouraging. And as I've already stated, I cannot recommend melatonin highly enough. And that goes for mice or humans. Melatonin supplements are available from a wide range of manufacturers, including most of the top brands. Now my preference is for a time-release tablet, as this provides a steady release of the hormone over several hours, which more closely mimics the body's natural production. Capsule and sublingual melatonin products, they provide a faster release into the bloodstream, but also with a resultant high spike. My initial advice would be to first decide on the dosage required, then look for a suitable high-quality, timed-release melatonin product. I'll leave a link in the description to the product that I use myself, which seems to work pretty well. But don't let my preference put you off trying other forms of melatonin. Now, I use melatonin for its anti-aging effects, to which time-release tablets are ideally suited. However, some people prefer a faster release of the hormone, especially if they're using it primarily as a sleep aid and just need it to get to sleep, but otherwise have no problem staying asleep. Sublingual pellets, they're ideal if you prefer a fast onset of effects, and these also have the advantage of avoiding the GI tract, while standard capsules and tablets, they lie somewhere in the middle regarding release times. If your purpose for using melatonin is focused on anti-aging, then I'd say it's really just a case of deciding on your starting dosage, then purchasing a high-quality time-release tablet. If you're taking melatonin purely for its sleep benefits, then it's simply a case of experimenting to see which type of melatonin product works best for you, and of course at what dosage. And dosage is exactly what we're going to discuss next. One important factor that we mustn't forget is that a high percentage of the melatonin ingested will be broken down by the liver and kidneys. So we do need to ingest sufficient amounts in order to get sufficient melatonin into the bloodstream to do its job. And for those who believe that natural melatonin production might be permanently suppressed with long-term use, this is just not the case. And no studies that I'm aware of have ever shown such a result. If we look at a real-world example, when I first started experimenting with melatonin in the late 90s, and after working up to using 50 milligrams a night for 30 days, then stopping cold turkey, I experienced no apparent suppression of natural melatonin output. Nor did I experience any disruption in sleep patterns, other than less lucid dreaming, which was admittedly intensified on high-dose melatonin. And a urine sample upon waking also indicated normal levels of melatonin. However, this is not a recommendation for using such an extreme dosage, as in reality, it's simply not advantageous in any way. But hey, someone had to find out. I'm going to give you separate dosage guidelines for addressing both sleep issues and optimizing anti-aging effects. Starting with sleep, the effective dosage for most people with regard to optimizing sleep is between 1 to 5 milligrams nightly. This is generally taken 20 minutes before bed. If you're trying to go to bed earlier than usual, then take your melatonin at least an hour before bed. This is because your natural melatonin production won't kick in fully since it's not usually required so early. Natural production starts to slowly increase around 2 hours before bed, or your usual sleep time. So when you go to bed earlier than usual, you may initially be relying almost entirely on the supplement. My advice is to start with 1 milligram, and if necessary, increase by 1 milligram increments until you find your sweet spot. If your goal is to simply get to sleep quickly, and you typically have no problem staying asleep, then I'd recommend using sublingual pellets or oral capsules. Our goal is to get you to sleep fast and to keep you asleep throughout the night. So if you find yourself having difficulty staying asleep, then you should opt for a timed release tablet. In my experience, the most effective dosage in order to promote melatonin's systemic anti-aging effects is between 5 to 20 milligrams nightly, taken in the form of a timed release tablet. The goal is to gradually work your way up to the highest dosage you can tolerate without resulting in you being drowsy throughout the morning. If you're overly drowsy in the morning after high-dose melatonin, then this is an indication that the melatonin is not clearing sufficiently from your bloodstream before waking. Simply decrease the dosage to a more comfortable level. But listen folks, the fact is that any amount of melatonin, even 1 milligram, will have an anti-aging effect. So don't worry if you can't get anywhere near 20 milligrams. I've been taking melatonin for decades, and the sweet spot for me, both where sleep quality and anti-aging effects are concerned, is 10 milligrams nightly. This has been my fixed dosage for the past 10 years, and I can't imagine life without it. I probably have around 25 years experience experimenting with melatonin, and in my efforts to optimize its anti-aging effects, I've experimented with a wide range of dosing protocols. Firstly, there's no evidence of toxicity with melatonin, even at very high dosages, and I can personally verify this, having experimented going as high as 100 milligrams nightly. However, I can also confirm that in addition to there being no danger involved, there's also absolutely no advantage to using such extremely elevated dosages, both where sleep or anti-aging effects are concerned. So if you consistently find yourself overly drowsy after waking, then this is probably an indication that you need to lower your melatonin dose a little. And please note that other than for occasional sleep issues, I don't recommend melatonin use for anyone under the age of 30. It's just not necessary. If you'd like to know about many more anti-aging supplements, then check out my book, The Underground Life Extension Handbook, available now on Amazon. Over 60 anti-aging and life extension compounds are reviewed, including how to use them most effectively. I'm Ryker Black. Many thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this presentation, then please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And as always, take care, be healthy, and I hope to see you again soon.